call.
Councilman Samaluka? Here. Councilwoman Mazer? Here. Councilman Garrick?
Here.
Councilman Accomando?
Here.
Council President Arminio.
Here. Please stand to salute the flag and remain standing for a moment of silence as we remember 9/11. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Adequate notice of this meeting has been sent to all council members on August 31st, 2017, and to all legal newspapers in accordance with the provisions of the Open Public Meetings Act, Chapter 231, Public Law, 1975.
The public is hereby advised that any statements made during the meeting of the Township Council of the Township of Saddlebrook may not be privileged or protected, and that persons or entities who take issue with such comments or are offended by same may and have in the past sought legal redress through the courts. Any member of the public who addresses the council speaks for themselves and not for the council.
We have a presentation, Mayor. Would you like to?
Thank you, Council President. Good evening, everyone. October the 6th is Knockout Opioid Abuse Day. Tonight we have three speakers that are going to talk about that. We have our Police Chief, Bob Kugler. We have Atif Hoot, I think, from the our pharmacy, medicine shop. Thanks, Atif. But Atif is also very involved with Partnership for a Drug-Free New Jersey. And we also have Nick DeMauro, who is the executive president of New Jersey Law Enforcement Against Drugs, which is the program that we here, our police department teaches at the high school, or sixth grade middle school. So I have a proclamation I'm going to read, but before I read it, I just want to say that drug abuse is really, it crosses all socioeconomic status, and drug abuse is rampant in all the communities, really throughout the country. And again, it crosses all social groups and income brackets. So in this town, we had, over the summer, we had two drug-related deaths, unfortunately. And again, it's a major problem in this country. So I'm going to read this proclamation. Township of Saddlebrook Knockout Opioid Abuse Day, October 6, 2017. Whereas New Jersey is in the midst of a life-threatening opioid abuse epidemic, and whereas the Partnership for a Drug-Free New Jersey has designated October 6, 2017 as Knockout Opioid Abuse Day, an initiative with a dual purpose to educate families of addictive qualities of opioid pain medicines and their link to heroin abuse rates in New Jersey, and to communicate to physicians information on safe prescribing messages found in the Center of Disease Control and Prevention guidelines for prescribing opiates, which include considering other therapies, setting realistic treatment goals with patients, and discussing with patients the pros and cons of opioids. And whereas the State Senate and General Assembly jointly resolved that October 6th shall be permanently designated as Knockout Opioid Abuse Day in New Jersey, in order to raise awareness about the dangers of and the link between opioid abuse and heroin addiction, and to educate health providers, community leaders, state lawmakers, and members of the public about the opioid abuse epidemic and its effects throughout the state of New Jersey and across the country. And whereas the Township of Saddlebrook supports initiatives designed to raise awareness about the opioid abuse in New Jersey and take steps to prevent addiction. Therefore, be it resolved on October 6th, 2017, let's make that today. We're going to make it that on September the 7th, 2017, we recognize that Knockout Abuse Opioid Day in Saddlebrook. Thank you. At this time, I'm going to invite Chief Kugler up to say a few words.
Thank you, Mayor Bob. Good evening, Council President and members of the council and our professional staff and our community. I'd like to ask Atif Alhout, our licensed pharmacist here in Saddlebrook for many years, over 22 years in the Medicine Shop Pharmacy, to stand up here with me, and as well as Nicholas Tomorrow, Chief Executive Officer of LEAD Incorporated. Mayor talked about LEAD. LEAD is Law Enforcement Against Drugs. It's a school-based education and prevention program that we deliver to each and every school in this community. It's done throughout not only New Jersey, but throughout the United States. Happy to announce that our program is in 9 different states across the United States, and we're growing each and every day. But the reason I come here with some of my partners, Mayor had asked me to introduce the program, and that is the New Jersey annual Knockout Opiate Abuse Day that's going to occur next month, October 6th. October 6th is actually a Friday, so we will have an opportunity to be here again next month on October 5, Thursday, if the meeting's on Thursday, to just announce our initiative throughout the past month. But on Friday, October 6th, we seek volunteers. We seek volunteers from our community to go door to door and hang. I don't know if you can see it from your vantage point, but maybe the camera can zoom in here. These are door knockers, so we're not going to bother you. We're going to place these door knockers on your door handle, and what it basically is awareness and education. That you understand that in your medicine cabinet probably right now, you probably had some type of pain reliever, narcotic, sleeping pill, or something that's bad for not only you, but maybe others in your household. And maybe unbeknownst to you, you have children or others that may come into your house, go to your bathroom, and open up that medicine cabinet and take it for illegal, illicit, or wrong purposes. So opiate abuse basically is prescription medication that is legally prescribed by a pharmacist like our local Atif here, and is given to patients, people, children, adolescents, older people who have need for pain medicine. I'm looking at Emil right now, and Emil, I know you and I suffered from back pain. I too had pain relievers years ago. These are dangerous narcotics if not taken right and taken with authorization. And on the black market, the illegal market, they're selling these pills $25 each. So what we're trying to do is join thousands, countless thousands of others throughout New Jersey on October 6th, and we seek volunteers. We want community volunteers, and let me tell you the partnership we have. Not only professional pharmacists who prescribe and know the dangers, and he himself in his own facility and business proactively educate people about the necessity to turn in unwanted or unneeded prescriptions, but also our drug program. Nick tomorrow will tell you even more we need to educate our people, because probably in the near future, 2018, the legalization of marijuana will probably become a reality here in New Jersey. Now more than ever, we need education, prevention for our children and our community to make the right decisions. Because our children, you as adults, you make the decision whether you're going to drink or not. Pretty soon, you're going to need that decision to whether to smoke that marijuana joint or not. Because here in New Jersey, like 9 states throughout the United States, it'll probably become legal. But this time I'd like to introduce Mr. Atif Alhout from the Medicine Shop Pharmacy, a partner of our initiative. He himself, like I said, has a Medicine Shop Pharmacy, successful pharmacy here in town. He's been here for 22 years and is basically our local Township pharmacist. So at this time, Atif would introduce himself and give the 30-minute spiel. Atif.
It's a couple of seconds. Good evening. Basically, like Bob said, narcotics and opiates has become really a very dangerous thing. The problem what happens is the patient gets sick, goes to the doctor, gets a few pills, and now, as of this year, if it's a new patient starting on medication, maximum a physician can give is 5-day supply. After 5-day supply, if the patient needed it, he can go back and get more medication depending on how much pain they have. But the problem is, if this patient is on medication for a month or 2, then it's going to go from being taking the medicine to relieve pain, now it's going to addiction. And to kick that addiction is very hard because I've seen it. I work with several detox centers, and I see how bad it is. So education is the only way for us to be able to explain to the people and to the patients, you know, you gotta be careful what, you know, what, if you don't need it, don't take it. Because you take it and you will, it'll happen, I see it. So with the education and the papers Bob is doing, that will help, and we'll just take it from there, whatever we have to do, because it does hurt people. And like Bob said, and Bob's also, there was 2 people from Brook got, you know, they had problems. So we'll start it, we'll do what we can do to help.
Thank you,
Thank
Atif.
you.
Thank you, Atif. Now at this time, please, my partner in crime, and probably more notably, the Police Academy buddy of our Mayor Robert White, some 35 years ago or so, Nicholas Tomorrow, CEO of Law Enforcement Against Drugs.
It's been that long, huh, Mayor? Thank you, Bob. Chief, what Chief didn't say, he's also the chairman of my board and my mayor for lead. But, you know, this is an interesting topic. And the whole opiate situation and the escalation into all the heroin deaths, and that's really what has awoken the people. And I travel the country. Bob mentioned we're, you know, 9 states. We're actually in 13 right now. And whenever I go to a different state and I lecture, I speak to different elected officials, you don't realize that what's going on in New Jersey is going on throughout the United States. It is really, it's really become a problem. And why? Heroin has been here for years, right? Well, guess what? It's cheaper now, and it's accessible. Years ago, heroin was injectable, and usually at the last rung of an addict, okay? Now it's not, and it's hitting home because you're having high school, college kids who are going to parties, and they're involved in it, and they're being exposed to it. And it's a problem. But what we do, what LEAD does, is we're on the street and in the classroom. On the street, we educate our police officers to understand how to address this issue in communities, how to deal with it on a day-to-day basis. In the classroom, we teach proven effective curricula, drug prevention curricula. Everyone's getting away from drug. We're the only proven effective K-12 drug prevention curriculum on the market right now in the United States. Okay, and people, you know, they're all getting away with it because they want to prove that you have to make good decisions. Yeah, you got to make good decisions, but you have to understand the ramifications of your decisions in the area where you need to make them. Heroin is a problem. Bob is 100% correct. We're going to probably have legalized marijuana here in a year or 2. Okay, Bob didn't mention this, but we were out in Las Vegas for a meeting, and we visited a marijuana facility to see exactly how that was going to be in New Jersey and how it did, and it was kind of scary. It's kind of scary going into a room. All you had to be was 18. Walking into a room maybe twice the size of this, where they had a counter where you can buy, you know, brownies. Okay, like a whole bakery section. It's kind of sad that we're in that type of society. It really is. Okay. But it's all about, unfortunately, it's about this. And it's a tough situation, but we have to look at the whole picture. Yeah, we got to deal with the opiate problem. Yeah, we got to deal with heroin. But marijuana is a major issue. And let's not forget, you know, alcoholism has probably been a major part of a lot of people's stress and families throughout the United States for many, many years. So we have to address these issues. We have to make good decisions. And we need to support a governing body. So thank you very much for having me here today.
Thank you.
Thank you, Nick. Okay, so getting back to our topic, opioid abuse, the state annual drive is going to be Friday, October 6th. So we're looking for volunteers. So how do you volunteer? You call the mayor's office. You reach us out on Facebook, whether it be the town Facebook site or our police department Facebook site. You come to our police department. You reach out to us any way you can. By having this information and disseminating it in our communities and communities across New Jersey will make a difference. Now, who's on our team? Not only Nick, not only Atif, not only the mayor and council, myself, police department, members of our lead program. Sergeant Dougie Haveman is here, one of the persons who executes that program in our town for our children. But we have not only advocates from our town, we have families that were devastated by not only abuse, but even death. People in this community suffered their children dying of heroin overdose. These are the people that are involved in our program because they know more than ever the dangers and the realities of what happens if we don't act and do what we do. So I want to thank those advocates. I want to thank those that are volunteering so far. I look at Tommy Van Winkle, and I know the Mayor's Youth Advisory Group will be part of this initiative. And anybody, just to be involved, know about it yourself, spread it out, put it on your Facebook page. When you see it on ours, share it throughout the community and throughout the state and the whole world, because it's so, so important. So I want to thank Madam President for giving us the opportunity to be here tonight and talk a little bit about that. I mentioned 30 minutes. We probably got about 22 left. So if there's any questions, I'll take them at this time. But no, just one little public safety announcement the mayor wanted me to announce, and that is about the recent scams we've been experiencing. One in particular made press, and that is an individual that looks like this. And basically what happened is that an individual like this went to an older person's home who lived alone here inside of Brook, rang the doorbell, and basically said, "There's an emergency, I need to check the gas line in the basement." And as this resident questioned a little bit about, why you need to come in here, he basically showed some type of identification which really wasn't legitimate. Somehow coaxed the woman into allowing him into the home, went down to the basement, and as she was with him running the dryer, making noise, a second individual entered the house, ransacked her bedroom, and took off with a good amount of money, over $5,000 in cash. This happens each and every day, not only here in our state, but throughout the United States. And not only that, it happens on the telephone, and it happens in the U.S. mail. So these scams are reaching prey. They do maybe 30,000 a day, and if they catch one, they're happy. So we need to spread the word also about scams. This person, I know it's a very general-looking person, but please, don't get fooled. Don't fall into it. Just recently, we had another person, just recently, days ago, wired money because it was the grandparent scam. They called on a telephone and basically said, "Hey, your grandson's been arrested. And able to get him out. You need to wire this amount of money to this location." And lo and behold, for whatever reason, they go to the store, Walmart, wherever they go and get these MoneyGrams, and they wire it. And once you do that, once you hit the button, once you give them the code, it's over. You can't get it back. So it's a problem, not only here in Saddlebrook, but throughout, really, the United States and probably worldwide. But once again, thank you, Madam President. Thank you, Mayor White, for giving us the opportunity to be here. Thank my colleagues for being here. We look forward to seeking volunteers throughout the community. Once again, Knockout Opiate Abuse Day, Friday, October 6th. We need volunteers to help us spread the word, and even a share on your Facebook. You don't even have to leave your house. So that's how you can participate. So thank you very much. God bless us all.
Thank you, Chief.
You said October 6th, but what time are you going to actually start walking with the door knockers? You didn't say a time, you just said the day. What time?
What was that?
What time are you going to do it?
Are you going to be walking?
That's going to be yet to be determined, but, because I know there's a lot of people who probably work. So once we get the volunteer base and once we know some are students, some are people that can come out through the day, we'll go early afternoon or early evening hours, see what we can do to spread the word. But again, once again, even sharing it on our Facebook, our friends, telling our family members, picking up a little door knocker and hanging it on your own door, putting it out in your places of work, businesses, et cetera. Very, very so important. So thank you, Councilman Accomondo, for bringing that up, and we'd love to have volunteers any time of the day. We do have an ordinance. We don't want to come out too late at night, so make sure we'll get out there before dark. Okay, thank you very much once again.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Now, before I make a motion to open to the public, I'd like to call up Mr. Neil Weissman, and he would like our support with the bike path on the George Washington Bridge between New York and New Jersey. Mr. Weissman?
Thank you, Madam President, Mayor White, for the opportunity to speak. My name is Neil Weissman. I'm at 309 East 5th Street in Lower Manhattan. I'm here on behalf of Complete George, which is a coalition of 170 organizations, businesses, and communities calling on the Port Authority to widen the bicycle pedestrian paths on the George Washington Bridge as part of the upcoming recabling. These are 1931-era paths, so they're going to be totally ripped out and restored, and the ask is that they be widened to national standards as a proper cycling facility. The GWB is the sole bikeable connector between North Jersey and New York City, and its paths are already incredibly overcrowded, 3,700 cyclists a day, growing at 10% a year. That'll be 9,000 cyclists by the time the facility reopens in 2024, and there's no precedent for putting that many users on a path in one time. If this will cause it to revert to a pedestrian facility only, which will cost the region hundreds of millions of dollars in lost tourism, public health, property tax revenue, and resilience. You've got notes there about to detail that. Coming back a bit to Saddle Brook, wider paths would spur the creation of a Bergen bike grid, such as detailed in the Bergen Parks Master Plan and the Central Bergen Bicycle and Pedestrian Plan, which I believe Saddle Brook is a part. Cycling, a bike grid and cycling across the GWB meets all of the Port Authority's criteria for successful strategy to reduce bus traffic into the Midtown Terminal. This is important because winter is coming. And when I say that, I mean over the next decade, they're going to replace the Midtown Bus Terminal, very likely the Penn Station, and there's a very high likelihood that they'll have to replace one or both of the Midtown of the Trans-Hudson rail tunnels. If they have to replace one, that's 75% of all the train traffic in and out of New York City from New Jersey. And if people think that commuting sucks now, just wait. But if you have, cycling across the GWB can create capacity for 10,000 cyclists a day, and even if nobody from Saddle Brook ever uses it, it frees up capacity on the trains and the buses for those living further out. The groups that support this already include Cliffside Park, Edgewater, Fort Lee, Englewood Cliffs, Fairlawn, Paramus, Glen Rock, and a dozen bike shops between the GWB and Rockland. You've got a draft letter of support, and if you have any questions, I'm certain. And you have a larger brochure about which details all the benefits. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer. I'm a resource if you need me for anything.
First of all, I like the Game of Thrones reference there. But when they are removing, I guess, the current walkways to do the recabling, I would assume that there's like an outside perimeter and inside perimeter. There's only a certain distance. How do you get it to 14 feet?
They have to cantilever out. So they're like under each, the cables are 63 feet apart. So under each set of cable, you put out a strut 14 feet out, or 10, whatever the measure, and then you basically span it with a path. The Port Authority said this is, the bridge is robust enough to withstand this. The engineer said, look, we can do this at any time. It's simply a question of money. They don't want to spend it now. This is where it needs the coalition of all of the region to simply say, you need to do this now.
So you'd have the inside would be a walkway for pedestrians.
You've actually got a
outside?
picture on the larger. You've actually got a picture of what that would look like. You basically leave the two 7-foot wide paths as they are, and then you drop down 5 feet, extend 10 feet out on either side. It would be the larger. I'm sorry, you've got a.
There's a picture here?
I don't have a picture.
I gave you a second sheet It's a larger. Hold it, Mr. Ludica.
I have the draft letter and your first thing that says remarks, but there's no
Mr.
picture.
Ludica, I think I gave you a second set of documents.
I didn't pass them out because we had printed these.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry, but it's there. Essentially, you do. I apologize. You would simply you would build out from the existing path. The existing pedestrian paths would stay there for pedestrians and runners, and then you'd have a second path going outside the existing paths for cyclists.
And what is the estimated additional cost for that? Is there an estimate?
The incremental cost, Port Authority says, look, write us a check for $90 million and we'll do it.
Okay,
That's within, that's actually pretty cheap compared to, the Bayonne and the Gothels are gonna cost about $135 million apiece. The Tappan Zee is gonna cost $400 million. That's not bad. And this will be a 90-year facility.
okay.
Through a chair,
Sure.
how would Saddlebrook benefit from voting yes? Would it benefit as far as, what's my train of thought? Revenue. What type of revenue are we gonna get voting yes for pedestrians?
If this spurs a Bergen bike route, which it should, there are dozens of studies hosted by the National Association of Realtors, which says if you put a bike path by a home, the property value increases 5 to 10%. And many municipalities across the country are funding bike path construction by the anticipated property tax increases. And this is a very popular amenity for younger buyers. And this is, like I say, this is coming from National Association of Realtors.
To me, that's just from my point of view, a bike path is also a means of stealing. You could steal something easier than you would if there was no bike path. If there was a bike path in my house, near my house, it's more logical for somebody to say, oh, well, we could steal this and go over a bridge or this. I just don't see the reason for Saddlebrook to vote on something for this, for the Port Authority. I don't know.
Well, you already
I'm just
have.
confused with the whole thing.
The health benefits, just is the least expensive the least expensive public health benefit you can buy is literally the physical exercise you get. New York City Bike Grid, World Health Organization, Columbia School of Public Health. There are studies, CompleteGeorge.org, it's all there, basically detailing, if you want to cut health expenses in a municipality, getting people healthier, simply biking a few miles a week. I'm sorry, I hate to say this, but I'm 65 years old. My resting heart rate is 45. It works. I wouldn't be in good shape without it.
Okay. Well, thank you. What we'll do is we'll put it on our work session for further discussion
All right.
next month.
Okay,
Thank you for coming.
thank you.
Okay, motion to open the meeting to the public?
Motion? Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
The meeting is now open to the public. Thomas?
Good evening, Mayor, members of the council and the mayor. And I'm Thomas Van Winkle, 128 Lincoln Avenue. Last month I came up here to talk about the mayor's youth group. I'll do that once again this month since we've started a new school year and we've had some events during the summer. And I just want to thank all the members for helping to run the food to the seniors at the Township picnic in August. And also thank you, Council President Karen D'Arminio and Committee Chairperson Shannon Alcamundo for helping to put this picnic together. It's always a wonderful picnic.
Thank
Such a beautiful day. And also the mayor's walk went very well in the morning. Just the weather couldn't have been any better. Both events couldn't have been any better. Let's see. We had our last mayor's youth group meeting on August 12th, and we're going to meet again on the 23rd of September at 11 o'clock right in this room. And we talked about the fundraising for a bench by the Victor Field Playground. The mayor's youth group wants to do maybe a car wash and possibly a restaurant night at McDonald's. We're also going to be participating in upcoming events throughout the fall, including the senior Halloween party, the Halloween and Christmas decorating contests, trunk or treat, and the township tree lighting and the holiday party at the high school. So we've got plenty to look forward to throughout the fall and heading into the holiday season. So I'm looking forward to all that. Thank you.
Thank you, Thomas. Anyone else?
Good evening, everyone. Amy
Good evening.
Sudol, 412 Van Loon Terrace, Township of Saddlebrook. Got notes. First thing I'd like to bring up is I kind of brought this up at the meeting the other night, and I just wanted to rehash it. And this was pertaining to the Bergen County Park Commission. Mr. Semaluka put it, kind of pointed me in a direction of, with the picnic tables over at the park. And he's absolutely right. They were in horrible, horrible condition. They're all green and moldy and splintered up and stuff like that. I know some of you guys reached out. I know Andrew did and the mayor, to the, I believe, park commissioners to see if we can get these things either replaced or repaired. I reached out through Rutgers University, who works in concert with the Parks Commission, and they all say the same thing. They promise, yeah, we're going to do it. We're going to take care of it. I mean, I was emailing them back in May. May went by, June, July, August. Here we are into September, and nothing was done. Absolutely nothing. I think what Andrew brought up about the Parks Commission probably putting the money into the bigger parks like Van Saun and stuff like that is probably what's happening here, and we're totally getting nothing accomplished here. And it's a shame because we had the township had a lot of events there this year. You had the fireworks and the picnic and the fishing derby and all this stuff, and all of those tables are really, really horrible. I really wish that hopefully somebody from Bergen County Parks Commission is listening to us here and get it done. I mean, the summer's over, I realize that, but we really got put on the back burner. The Bergen County Parks Commission had a master plan meeting that was all over the county. I think they had 3 or 4 different meetings. They had one in Hackensack, one in Lyndhurst. Anyway, I couldn't attend the meeting, but they made it available. It was a video of it on their website. So I listened to the video, and I was really surprised on how many Saddlebrook Township residents were at this meeting, not for the picnic tables, but for the flooding of the Saddle River. Some of the people that came up to the podium there said they lost well over $100,000 worth of property damage. I mean, the houses really got flooded out. And I know that the past couple administrations were kind of getting involved with trying to get something started with getting that river either cleaned out or that Marcellus Avenue Bridge repaired. There were a lot of politicians that were getting involved in it. And once again, this has been put on the back burner. Nothing is getting done. I just feel that it's a matter of time before this happens again, where we get hit with a hurricane or that all floods out again and all of this. I just wish that through the mayor, council members, if there's anything that we could do to get the ball rolling again. I know their biggest complaint was they didn't have the money.
Time
But
is up.
I
Mr.
understand that.
Zero.
Just one more minute. Since then,
We
they
have-
raised
we have
our
a
gas
time
tax.
limit. We barely have a time limit, and you're done. Thank you.
That's unfair. I just wanted to say that to all of you. 3 minutes is totally unfair. It's not right. That's all I got to say.
Thank you. Next.
Larry Tychek, 92 Claremont. Once again, I'll remind the people that Ms. D'Arminio campaigned on not having a time limit up here. And once again, like I say, her word means absolutely nothing. In the past 2 months, they've sent people up here to tell them, one said I was a bully, one tells me to move out of town. They both happen to be, one's the ex-husband of a councilwoman, one is the husband of the council president. No matter who comes up here, I will still be here, okay? One guy walks around town still thinking he's the mayor. He still doesn't know that he lost an election or is not the mayor. I mean, the way I wasn't at the senior housing meeting, but he's talking like he grabs the microphone and talks like he's the MC, like he's doing a Johnny Carson show. He's not the mayor, okay? He's a has-been, and he shouldn't give people advice up here. He should listen to his own advice. We'll start with the senior housing. Like I said before and all along, that guy, the only thing he put on was a dog and pony show. He gave you no facts, no nothing. He's bringing bricks to the podium, telling this is going to be the brick, this is going to be that. I mean, there was a comment made Tuesday night about a date. We're supposed to be done 2018. The engineer said 2019. We were talking about paving roads. I don't know. Do we have anything in writing or a commitment from these people? I mean, they showed up with a demo piece of equipment. It's no longer there. They have 2 empty boxes. They put a fence. How long does it take to do a demo? Or what's taking this project so long to get off the ground?
It's my understanding they had to get all the permits in place.
Well, I mean,
and there was
Karen,
a lead- there was a
you're talking
lead
7
paint
years now.
issue.
You're talking 7 years. The permit should have been in the working all along. To me, like I said, I don't believe, I'll believe it when I see it. And I don't believe that that picture that they show is what the building's gonna look like. I think they just dug that up out of somewhere, or it's a building someplace else that they brought to show, just like they brought the bricks. What do them seniors care what the outside of that building looks like? I don't wanna waste a lot of time, but I'm just saying, you people gotta get that guy back in here. And,
He will be
and
here
put his,
next month.
put his feet to the fire at a council meeting, not at a work session, at a council meeting, so he's on TV, so that people can hear him lie. And you people have to ask him the questions. Like I said, we don't finish any projects. Like I say, we're still not completely done on Fifth Street. There's one more section that needs to be done. How many more years are we gonna work on that? The other thing is the paving project, like I said on Tuesday night. You're doing secondary and back roads rather than the primary roads. We haven't done any roads at all, at our own expense. All the roads being done are done on public service. Okay, they're the roads that they dug up, they're the roads that, give me one road that the town has actually sent out to bid, awarded to bid and paved in the last 4 or 5 years. None, 0. That's why the roads look the way they do.
Thank you, Mr. Ratajczak.
No, thank you. Okay, also, the tax appeals, we said last month we had no more, and we got over $300,000 in more tax appeals that need to be explained.
Anyone else wishing to speak? Motion to close the meeting to the public?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Comments? I'd like to comment. Yes, I did campaign on a no time limit. I did say that when I was campaigning. And after sitting up here for 7 months and listening to personal attacks, disrespect, interruptions from the public, and speaking to the public at the picnic, I must have ran into 50 people who said they congratulated me for the 3-minute, because it was like becoming a reality show. And I feel it's my discretion, so I did change it, and I'm happy because I think it's more civil and it's better for Saddlebrook. Well, you may think it's wrong, and again, from the audience. The other thing is the senior housing. He is coming in October. He does come to the work session because that's where the work is done. So he will be here. I don't know what October's meeting is. Do you, Pete? Yeah, I don't have the date for that yet. But that will be announced, and he will be here. And anyone that comes to the work session can certainly ask him any questions. I'm not going to address the rest of it until later, but the tax appeals, it's actually an additional $141,000 of tax appeals. This completes all the large appeals, and according to the attorney, this is it. So the total of all the tax appeals is $2,107,367. Mr. Simaluka? No, we weren't, Mr. Ratajczak. No, we were waiting on the rest.
Okay. I don't know if this is old business, new comments, whatever, but the engineer had advised us last month about the cleanup of the sewer, Fifth Street and Market Street sewer lines where there were basketball-sized clumps of gook, waste product that was taken out of there. I think he said it was like 2 or 3 dumpsters worth of stuff that was taken out there. And just so you're aware, we are working on an ordinance to enforce the grease trap requirements. Whether or not you know about it, each restaurant has to have a grease trap, which obviously would trap the grease. That's either not being enforced, or they're not working, or they're not even installed. So we are working on a specific ordinance which would require each and every facility, food processing facility. I would think there may be some exemptions based on the size, but for the most part, almost all food establishments to have this grease trap in place, working, and inspectable. And we will be sending our inspectors out to make sure that they're working properly, so we don't end up with something like that. Comment about the property maintenance, and just, again, we're asking for the public, we can't be every place. There is an individual who does a decent job of going around and telling us what's wrong, but just something that I'll defer to the administrator, that the Bennigans, the abandoned Bennigans, which I think may have been sold, and the property next to it, which is basically used as a parking lot, but it was a daycare center, or it used to be the Metro Church. It's just starting to look really horrible. It's all weedy, and if we can get the property owners on it, and I know that we do have something in effect that if they don't clean it up, we clean it up and we bill them. So it is kind of a blight. It is one of our main traveled roads in and out, and it does make Saddlebrook look pretty bad for people traveling to and from their homes. Just quick about the, we'll talk about it, I guess, at the meeting. Personally, it just, since it's on my mind, I may forget it next time. $90 million is a heck of a lot of money. I guess it's nothing. With the Goethals Bridge costs $130 million. I guess it's nothing, but $90 million to me is a lot of money. I particularly, I think Saddlebrook is kind of remote from the GWB, although we all drive over it. I'm sure there are some people here who are much more healthy than me that can ride from Saddlebrook to Washington Heights and back. But again, it's very remote. We will talk about it, and we'll come up with a decision as to whether or not to support the form letter there. One of the resolutions that are on tonight is for a stigma-free community, and we did discuss this at the work session, and I did bring it up at the Access for All committee meeting, which I will talk about also. But for those who don't know it, I'm just going to read what it is so you're aware of it. It's a Bergen County Stigma-Free Campaign. It's a county-wide program which aims to reduce the stigma associated with mental illness. We are dedicated to raising awareness of the disease of mental illness and create a culture wherein residents who have the disease feel supported by their community and neighbors and feel free to seek treatment for the disease without fear of stigma. There are a number of steps to becoming a stigma-free zone. The first one is adopt a local stigma-free campaign resolution, which is on the docket tonight, and I'm not going to talk about it then. It's on the consent agenda, and I will be voting yes for that. The second one of the, I think there's 6 things. The second one here in order is participate in mental health first aid training. They have something which is similar to CPR, but it's mental CPR is the way they describe it. There are, you can either take 1 8-hour session or 2 4-hour sessions. I am going to contact the county in order to set that up. It doesn't have to be just people who are in this Access for All committee. It doesn't just have to be people on the council if they choose to do it. It could be anybody in the community. So if anyone in the community is at all interested, please contact Mr. Ladico, get your name on a list, and then when we do, in fact, get the county to schedule this, they can come to us, is what I've been told. So once they get here, we'll set it up and we can get you involved in that. Press materials, we're going to be sending out a press release, and promotional materials, we will be getting that, and hopefully we will be able to get that in time for the October 2nd street fair and have some of the promotional materials out there. The town is going to have a table, so hopefully we will be able to have something in terms of flyers, brochures, maybe signs, things like that. Possibly T-shirts. I don't know how quickly they can get that to us, but hopefully we'll do that. The other stuff, which would be a plan of action and appointing an ambassador and things like that, it's a work in progress, but we're going to start small, get the easier things accomplished, and we're already accomplishing a couple of them. The Access for All Committee we met last night. Again, we are going to be at that street fair.
October 1st, Andrew.
It's October 1st?
Yes.
It's a Sunday, October 1st? Okay, cool. A couple of things we talked about is what we're going to try and do is possibly have a movie day for children who are on the spectrum and cannot attend a movie theater at night. What they do, as my wife has attended a number of these things, is that they'll turn up the lights, turn down the sound. Kids can roam around a little more freely than they would ordinarily at a 7 o'clock showing. And everyone is there, everyone who is there knows that there's going to be some interruptions, but it's a good way for them to unwind and enjoy something without having the parents say, sure, you're grabbing them and trying to keep them in place. So that has worked, and we're going to try and do that through our Access Committee here. We did get the ID cards. They were a long time coming, government. So it took a while, but we did get them. I think the person in charge was hospitalized. And that was something that we did. And the Bergen County Sheriffs came in and they took photographs of children. I forget what it was. 20 to 30 children got them. And it's called the Gold Star ID. So in case they are lost, in case they are having an issue, they'll have that identification. So people know that maybe they're nonverbal, or maybe they're just non-communicative in any way, but the law enforcement official or any kind of person who comes upon them would know that who to contact. At least it's some kind of identification. We plan on doing that again. Hopefully through word of mouth, more people will be involved with that. That's the Access Committee. Hopefully we'll get more people involved in that. You want to do old business, new business, so I shut up after?
Yeah, good
I
idea.
might as well do it. Yeah, okay. The Mets game. We went to the Mets game. That was the first out-of-town event run by Mr. Gallo, our new recreation director. We had about 25 people. It was a nice afternoon. Mets got crushed as usual, but we enjoyed it. Surprisingly good seats. It was a beautiful day. We're going to do it again, and again, it's what I said this last month. For people who complain that we don't have anything, please, when we do have stuff, please come. I said there was 25 people there. We are going to try and do it maybe a night game, maybe a Friday night, something to try and get more people. We'll figure it out. The picnic, I just wanted to thank Karen and Sharon and Shannon for doing a great job, and everyone who helped, DPW, Fire EMS, everyone was there. Everyone had a good time, but again, it shed some light on the horrible conditions of the benches. I know that people have told me that they've watched this, for some reason, somebody from Cliffside Park is watching this. I don't know why you would want to do that, but they're out there, people from the county. Our county park, and I say our county park, it's in Saddlebrook, but a number of people from all over the county attend. Emil said, I forgot about the fireworks. There are people that come from all around to see the fireworks. People walk in that park. People bike in that park. It's a shame. I think that and I said the same thing last year, we get the short end of the stick when it comes to maintenance of that park. There's a lot of things that need to be done, and we will again reach out to our county people, and I think the best way to show them is to actually show them and say, come meet us at a certain time, and we will walk the park with you. There's a number of things that are bad, and the most glaring, I think, when you have a township picnic, you need someplace to sit. There are, the benches and the tables are just in horrific shape. I was told a year ago that they're working on it, but again, it doesn't seem to ever really come up. I believe that that is all that I have. Good luck to all the sports people that are going to start their sports season. We have the pep rally, I think, tomorrow night at 6 o'clock at Veterans Field. Good luck to all the kids, the coaches, and the parents. Be safe, and very important in these days, because you see it more and more on Facebook and YouTube and all kinds of things. Just be civil to each other, especially toward the coaches and toward the officials, because there's no place in sports. It's just setting a bad example for your children if you just get out of hand. We do have a code of conduct. You could be banned. There's a lot of things that can happen, but just be civil to each other and be civil to the people that are in charge. Thank you.
Councilwoman?
First and foremost, can we change the order of speaking? He always gets to go first. Anyway, okay, so we're going to do old and new business, I guess,
Sure.
since he started it that way. Okay. Well, while Thomas is here, and before you leave, I would like to propose to my council to purchase a bench, the actual bench that you were going to fundraise on, and you guys do such a great job, the Mayor's Youth Group, and that I figured, you know what, if it's okay with my fellow council people, that we will purchase the bench and put it in your name, the Mayor's Youth Group's name, and you can use your fundraising efforts for either something there or whatever you like. But just to give you a boost to get you started, because everything, you guys are there for everything, you guys and girls are there for everything whenever we need anything on all township functions. So, right, everybody's on board with that, right?
It's a great idea.
Okay, great. So we'll get that started. Unfortunately, we can't do all the benches in the park, but that's going to be at Kern, and it's going to be in your name. I too have a resolution this evening. I'm asking to have it expanded, actually, to the New Jersey drug-free school zones. If you just bear with me a minute, I will speak, I will read it. It says, whereas New Jersey adopted drug-free school zones in 1987, which states in part, prohibiting the distribution, dispensing, or possessing with intent to distribute a controlled dangerous substance while on school property used for school purposes, which is owned by or leased to any elementary or secondary school or school board within 1,000 feet of such property. And whereas since 1987, other types of schools, such as private charter schools and children's daycare centers, have been established. And whereas Title 2C:35-7 has not been updated to include such locations as drug-free school zones. And whereas for the safety and well-being of the children enrolled in these schools, amendments to the law needed to be enacted. Now therefore be it resolved by the Township Council of the Township of Saddlebrook that it hereby requests that the New Jersey Legislative review Title 2C:35-7 to enact amendments to include all types of schools and child daycare centers as drug-free school zones. And be it further resolved that the Township Clerk is hereby directed to send a certified copy of this resolution to the Senate President, Assembly Speaker, District 38, Senator Gordon, and Assembly Members Eustace and Lagana. And I'm going to ask for the support, which I'm sure I will get when time comes, for a motion on that resolution. In essence, you know, we weren't included. The daycare centers, those other schools were not included in the drug-free school zones. And in Saddlebrook alone, there are just as many daycare centers as there is schools. So we've asked to be included also, and also the private schools. So it's just a good thing to add more teeth to that law. Okay, thank you, Karen and Shannon and the entire picnic. Everybody, Mayor's Youth Group, everybody. I can go on and on and on, the vendors, the businesses. What a beautiful day. Couldn't ask for a better day. Mayor's Walk was awesome too, got us up and going. And, you know, weather cooperated, and like I said, you got the job again next year.
Thank you.
And congratulations to Mr. David Garrick, who's just recently wed. Lots of good luck to
Thank
you,
you.
and best wishes to you and your wife.
Thank you.
Yeah, well.
It's a long story.
One other thing, for those of you who did sign up for the no-knock ordinance, the decals did come in the mail. If you did not, or if you do not know about it, you know, you can call Town Hall and request to be on that registry, where it's do not knock, it's for, you're being asked to be put on that registry where you do not want people, certain solicitors, to come to your door and bother you. There are some organizations that are exempt, but you can get more information at the town hall. And now we do have the decals, so you can probably put that on your door just to remind them. And I think that's good. That's it for now.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Councilman Derrick?
Thank you, Council President. I'd just like to mention about the opening of schools. I'd like to wish everyone a successful year, our students, our administrators, our teachers. A lot of good things are happening in our schools. Our school rankings have improved, and the Board of Education, the administration, the teachers have been doing a wonderful job. And a lot of things aren't really said, but it should be recognized that there is a lot of improvements going on in our schools. So I just want to wish all the students a successful school year, all the parents as well. I'd also like to mention the picnic. I'd like to thank everybody that was involved in organizing it. I was on my honeymoon, so I didn't attend, but I just heard such wonderful things about it, and I'd like to thank Karen and Shannon and everybody that volunteered. Also, I'd like to recognize Bob, for the mayor, Bob White, for the walk that he does every year, and keeping everybody in town a little bit healthier. So that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Arcamanda?
Okay. The other day, Mr. Sudol did mention the benches, and as far as Andrew did too. I will speak with the county tomorrow. I reminded myself, I forgot today. I will speak to them to see if we could utilize the inmates to assist in the labor to build new benches for the park. So put a little fire on it to see what the outcome will be, and I'll let you know about that. I'd like to thank Karen. The picnic was great. My wife and yourself did a great job. And Andrew, as far as the outing for the Mets, I think if you go with the Yankees next time, you might get a little more people. It is a good program, and I'm going to make a motion that we utilize the 3-minute rule on Andrew. All right, so.
All in
With that being
favor?
said, I would like to wish everyone a safe school year, and thank everyone that there were some people that volunteered the picnic. I don't want to put him on the spot, but he's here in the room, and he came on his own time. So, thank you to the fire department, police department, and the DPW. They did a great job, and as well as you, again. So,
Thank you.
thank you very much.
And the Sheriff's Department. We want to thank the Sheriff's Department for being at the picnic also with the horses and the motorcycle.
I didn't even see him. I was stuck behind the popcorn machine.
Well,
I didn't even get to see him, but thank you.
Mayor?
Thanks, Karen. If you think Andrew went long, I thought he was kind of short tonight. So, but anyway, thank you to Flo for, and the council for agreeing to purchase that park bench. That's a really nice thing, and you're right, the youth group does do a lot. And, but I think we'll probably do the fundraisers because we're already, and then donate the money to some worthy cause. Regarding some of the things that were said tonight, the park bench, the park picnic benches, we have, I know myself, I know Councilman Simaluka have been in touch with the Parks Commission. They're usually very responsive, and it really has taken. They promised that they would get it done before the picnic, and it didn't happen. I personally will make a phone call to the county executive and ask him what's going on with that, because, like I said, usually I like to give them the time because they usually are responsive with those kind of things. But in this case, for whatever reason, you know, they had said that their master carpenter was doing, replacing all these, the wood with the new kind of Trex material throughout the whole county. But for whatever reason, they haven't gotten to us yet, but we will look into that, that's for sure. Regarding the flooding in the Saddle River that was brought up, we do have a flood committee. We haven't had a meeting in a while, but we are, through Bergen County Shared Services, Tom Richards, who's the coordinator, we are going to do with all the towns along the Saddle River. I mentioned it previously that the county flew a drone over the whole Saddle River, and there's certain areas that are really loaded with garbage. So we're going to meet and using inmate labor as well to try to clean out some of the problem areas, along the Saddle River. So that's something that's happening. As far as the Marsalis Bridge, the way I understand it is that whole project has been scrapped. And they had an engineer look at that, and they basically came up with, I was told by Assemblyman Tim Eustace that the expert said that by raising it, it really wouldn't solve that much of the problem. So they scrapped that idea. It was very expensive. Originally, they were going to do it, and the governor vetoed it, but they did more research, and that was what they came up. That's what I was told. So we are certainly concerned about the Saddle River, and we are doing stuff, to try to remediate that. I take exception to some of the comments that were made regarding the senior housing. Permits were taken out. Within the next 2 weeks, that building's going to be demolished. It has taken a long time, but we're on top of it. And Mr. Bialy will be here at our next meeting, and we will ask him the tough questions. As far as the tax appeals go, like the council president said, the bulk of the large ones are done. We're 90% finished. We got saddled with quite a few tax appeals, and we are working diligently along with our tax appeals attorney, who's doing a fabulous job. And we are in great shape. So it doesn't matter what you hear from anybody else. I'm telling you, personally, we're on top of it, and it's getting done. So we're moving along there. And I'm proud of the job that we're doing, myself and the council in that regard. And no one ever said they were completely done. As far as taxes go, bills were sent out on August 14th. The due date was extended to Tuesday, September 12th. So far, the rolling reassessment appears to be very positive for Saddlebrook. And as I just previously said, we're dealing with resolving these commercial tax appeals that have had a huge impact on last year's budget. But we're working through that, and I see daylight in front of us. Grants, we have several. We just applied through the grant writer, the Public Safety Foundation, $15,000 for automated CPR unit for our volunteer ambulance corps. Chief of Police Bob Kugler is working with the grant writer for obtaining funds through 2017 body armor grant, which is for bulletproof vests for our police officers. The grant writer also submitted a grant application back in July for recreation opportunities for individuals with disabilities. The grant writer worked with James Maniscalco with the Saddlebrook Angels program. It's a special needs program, and requested $10,000 for that Angels program. Unfortunately, the grant application that was put through from New Jersey DOT for streetscape along Market Street was denied. We received a notice last week. The township engineer is filing for grant funds through the New Jersey DOT 2018 State Municipal Aid Program. After discussing it at our work session Tuesday, we decided to request the funds for paving of the bottom portion of Fairlawn Parkway, which would be from Cambridge Ave north, that section there. Road paving projects, there was some things mentioned about that. I'm going to tell you, right, I got several things here that, again, that we've done and that are getting done. The county completed the entire length of Market Street in late July and early August, and that was done. I think it looks great. And there's an example of, we stressed that, we pushed for that, and the county came through. So, and they did it in a timely fashion. Wilson Street from North Midland to Oak, 3rd Street and 9th Street were paved recently, That was part of the water main project that we did to replace the water mains in those, on those streets because they were terrible. And, you know, we have to think about when you're paving, you gotta think about the infrastructure underneath, because why pave if you're gonna have to rip it up to replace the infrastructure? That doesn't make any sense. And that was part of the reason why we chose those streets to pave, because we wanted to do the water first. And now, you know, we should be good for a long time there. Bids were received to work with Public Service to pave the entire length of President Street. We also received bids on paving Kenny Place, which should be awarded tonight. William Street should be advertised within the next couple of weeks. The engineer is working on a design plans to pave all of Fifth Street. That should start sometime in the late fall. The town has received a large portion of the funding from grants through the New Jersey DOT Municipal Aid Project for 2014, 15, and 17. So, you know, the town's gonna have to pay a portion of that, but the majority is coming from that grant. Other project, Veterans Field is coming along. The new contractor is on top of everything. I'm very confident. I'm very happy. We've met several times with him, and things are getting done, and I believe that it'll be finished by the end of the year. Installation of the emergency generator here at Town Hall began today. This was purchased using FEMA funds. We got a partial, three-quarter reimbursement, $75,000 of the, I believe it's $120,000 for the emergency generator, but $75,000 of that was through FEMA funds. The senior housing meeting we had, John Bialy from the Bergen County Housing and Development did the presentation at the Senior Center on Monday, August 7th. This was about the senior project on Colville Avenue. Mr. Bialy had architectural plans and some designs of a building for 30 affordable housing units. The nursing home that currently sits on the property, as I just said, will be demolished shortly. All the permits were taken out, so sometime within the next 10 days, I expect that building to go down. And construction is due to start in the late fall. We're going to request another meeting, another presentation from Mr. Bialy to address the application process. This meeting that he had on the 7th was more just about the building and what it looked like, the design and such. The presentation that was done on the 7th can be viewed on our town TV cable stations. The Mayor's Walk, I want to thank everyone who participated. It's our second annual walk. It took place in the morning before the picnic in the Saddlebrook Park. This walk is part of what they call the Mayor's Wellness Campaign, which is a statewide initiative to improve health and wellness of residents and business owners. The goal is to get people to live healthier lives, and I hope to do another event before the end of the year. I want to thank the sponsors, Fast Twitch for our spine and rehab, and We Print Marketing. Also want to thank Rec Director Andy Gallo and my secretary Christine Januaria for all the help that they did planning and organizing it. That event was also videotaped and could be seen on our town TV. The Township Picnic, I'm going to let Karen, I know she's probably going to thank a lot of
I was
people.
waiting for you,
Right,
so I
okay.
didn't know.
Yeah, well, you know, it really was a perfect day. Everything went really well. And I received nothing but compliments from everyone. That what a great event it was. And it really is a nice way to bring the community together for a fun day to relax. And I just want to personally thank Karen for all her hard work. Also Shannon as well, Shannon Akamundo. But Karen really is the captain that steers the ship, that makes everything go as planned. And I know it gives her, I see, you know, we were at the picnic, and it gives her, I can see a great deal of satisfaction when she sees the public having a good time. It really makes her feel good. And you know what? It's a way for us, elected officials, to give something back to the community and to show how proud we are to represent you. So, you know, it was a great event, and I'm very happy about that. And that we also have a video on that, which is playing on our town TV. Stigma Free, I want to thank Councilman Simaluka for chairing the Access for All Committee and recommending that Saddlebrook become a stigma-free community. As he explained, it's a county-wide program which aims to reduce the stigma associated with mental illness. And by joining this, we'll join many other towns that also do the same thing or have a stigma-free, which raises awareness for mental illness and to try to create a supportive culture in the town. I also want to thank James and Monica Maniscalco and Ryan Roy for all their assistance with the Access for All Committee and all the efforts that they've done to establish this stigma-free zone. Upcoming events on Sunday at St. Philip's Church, it's Father Matthew's special retirement mass at 1 p.m. That's this Sunday, September 10th. Also, this Monday, which is September 11th, the Board of Education, we were notified today, is having a 9/11 remembrance ceremony, which is prior to their caucus at 7 p.m. At the high school, middle school auditorium. And the memo said anyone who wishes to attend and speak, please call the superintendent's office and speak to Gina Galvin, his secretary. Unico Street Fair is Saturday, October 1st from 10 to 5 p.m. on Market Street between Westminster Place and Mayo Street. That's Saturday, October 1st. Our Halloween decorating contest, registration begins on Monday, October 2nd. Judging will take place on Thursday, October 23rd. To register, email Christine, my secretary Christine, at cjanuario@saddlebrooknj.gov or call 201-587-2903. The winners will be announced at the November 2nd regular council meeting. We have our senior Halloween party on Tuesday, October 24th. It's a costume party at the VFW on Market Street from 6 to 10 p.m. It's a free event for our seniors, and transportation will be provided if necessary. Trunk or Treat is Saturday, October 28th from 12 noon to 2 p.m. This year it's going to be at the parking lot of the high school, middle schools, not Smith School. The parents can register their children 12 and under by returning the registration form to Town Hall. The registration will be sent out through the school's virtual backpack and will be posted on the Township website and Facebook. I want to welcome all the children back to school. Remember, I want to remind residents that school's open. Please, again, drive safely and carefully. Lastly, I just want to wish my thoughts and prayers, all of us for the town, for all the victims of Hurricane Harvey and now Irma. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Before we move on, I'd like to, I didn't know if you were going to, with the picnic. It takes a whole lot of people to do the picnic, and I want to thank the mayor and council for giving me the freedom to run with it, and also to thank you all for working the whole day with me. To Shannon Alcamundo, who is chairperson of Community Projects and Activities, who is at the park at 7 a.m. with me. I thank her. To Pete Lodico, our business administrator, who makes sure we have the money to get everything we need.
Spend it anyway.
Well, I want to thank you for it. To Christine, the mayor's secretary, who is helpful in everything. Joe Leachy, our senior center director, and Howie just left, our bus driver, who makes sure our seniors get back and forth to the picnic. The mayor's youth group, who helps serve the seniors, the Girl Scouts, the Women's Club, who did the cake, the entire crew of the DPW. A special thanks to the Korean Church for the barbecue they do every year for the residents. Of course, to our police, ambulance, fire department, and as I said, the sheriff's department was kind to bring the horses and the motorcycles. To Officer Haberman, who actually had the motorcycle there and was taking pictures with the children on the motorcycle. Thank you for that. And last, all of the sponsors. It was incredible, the response we got from the businesses in town, the pizza places that donated free pizza. It was just a great event. It was a great day. It is a pleasure to do it. We all had a good time, and I want to thank everybody that contributed to it. Thank you. And now, ordinances.
Ordinance, we have an ordinance amending Chapter 5 entitled Administration of Government, to be passed and adopted on first reading.
Motion.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilman Samaluka? Yes. Councilwoman Mazer?
Yes.
Councilman Garrick,
Yes.
Councilman Accomando,
Yes.
Council President D'Arminio.
Yes.
Be resolved by the Township Council of the Township of Saddlebrook that the ordinance amending Chapter 5 entitled Administration of Government, heretofore passed on first reading, be further considered for final passage at a meeting to be held on the 5th day of October, 2017, at 7 o'clock p.m., where sooner after as the matter can be reached at the Municipal Building, 93 Market Street, and that at such time and place all persons interested be given an opportunity to be heard concerning said ordinance according to law, with the notice of its introduction and passage on first reading, and of the time and place when and where said ordinance will be further considered for final passage.
Motion.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilman Samaluka? Yes. Councilwoman Mazer? Councilman Garrick?
Yes.
Councilman Accomando?
Yes.
Council President D'Arminio.
Yes.
Ordinance 1631-17, a bond ordinance to authorize the making of various public improvements and the acquisition of new automotive vehicles, including original apparatus and equipment in by and for the Township of Saddlebrook in the County of Bergen, State of New Jersey, to appropriate the sum of $310,000 and to pay the costs thereof, to make a down payment, to authorize the issuance of bonds and to finance such appropriation, and to provide for the issuance of bond anticipation notes in anticipation of the issuance of such bonds on first reading.
Motion. Motion.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilman Samaluka?
Yes.
Councilwoman Mazer?
Yes.
Councilman Garrick?
Yes.
Councilman Accomando?
Yes.
Council President D'Arminio.
Yes.
Be resolved by the Township Council of the Township of Saddlebrook that the bond ordinance to authorize the making of various public improvements and the acquisition of new automotive vehicles, including original apparatus and equipment in by and for the Township of Saddlebrook and the County of Bergen, State of New Jersey, to appropriate the sum of $310,000 to pay the cost thereof, to make a down payment, to authorize the issuance of bonds to finance such appropriation, and to provide for the issuance of bond anticipation notes in anticipation of the issuance of such bonds, heretofore passed on first reading, be further considered for final passage at a meeting to be held on the 5th day of October 2017 at 7 o'clock p.m., where soon thereafter as the matter can be reached at the Municipal Building, 93 Market Street, and at such time and place all persons interested be given an opportunity to be heard concerning said ordinance according to law, with the notice of its introduction and passage on first reading, and of the time and place when and where said ordinance will be further considered for final passage.
Motion.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilman Samaluka?
Yes.
Councilwoman Mazer?
Yes.
Councilman Garrick?
Yes.
Councilman Accomando?
Yes.
Council President D'Arminio.
Yes.
All items listed with an asterisk are considered routine and non-controversial by the Township Council and will be approved by one motion. There will be no separate discussion on these items unless a council member or members so request, in which case the items will be removed from the consent agenda and considered in its normal sequence on the agenda. The one motion signifies adoption of all resolutions, receive and file letters, correspondence, reports, and approval of minutes and applications. Not part of the consent agenda would be the adoption of the minutes from August 3rd, approved payment of bills for Stonebrook Gardens, and a separate vote for advice and consent for the mayor's appointment for the unexpired term on the Library Board of Trustees of Joel Trella.
Through the chair, I'd like to ask that number 14 be removed.
Motion.
Motion to pass.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilman Samaluka?
Yes.
Councilwoman Mazer? Councilman Garrick?
Yes.
Councilman Accomando?
Yes.
Council President D'Arminio.
Yes.
We have the minutes of the August 3rd regular public meeting.
Motion.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilman Samaluka?
Yes.
Councilwoman Mazer?
Abstain.
Councilman Garrick?
Yes.
Councilman Accomando?
Yes.
Council President D'Arminio.
Abstain.
We have the approval of the payment of bills for Stonebrook Gardens.
Motion.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilman Samaluka?
Yes.
Councilwoman Mazer?
Abstain.
Councilman Garrick.
Yes.
Councilman Arcomando.
Yes.
Council President Dorminio.
Yes.
And we have we need a motion for the mayor's appointment to give advice and consent for the Library Board of Trustees on expired term for Joel Trella.
Second?
Roll call?
Councilman Samaluka? Councilwoman Mazer?
Yes.
Councilman Garrick?
Yes.
Councilman Arcomando?
Yes.
Council President Dorminio.
Yes.
And we have resolution number 14, which is to award professional services contract for a special counsel for the opioid litigation.
Sure.
We did speak earlier about the opioid epidemic, which is affecting communities, towns, counties, states, and the whole country. Number 14 is actually a resolution to approve a retainer between the Township of Saddlebrook and a law firm in New York City. Sometimes to stop people from doing bad things, you hit them where it hurts in the pocketbook. What this retainer is for is to have this law firm represent Saddlebrook in litigation against the big pharmaceutical companies who, the theory is that through deceptive marketing practices to consumers and physicians alike, have spread this crisis to epidemic proportions. I think the president, if he hasn't already declared it, as declaring it a national emergency. It is of no cost, at no cost to the community. It's based on a recovery. They will get a percentage. If we don't get anything, they don't get anything. If they do get something, we will get something. They have been successful in other states, I believe Kentucky, West Virginia. Mr. Suarez had indicated Ohio on Tuesday night, and sometimes into the millions of dollars. I don't know what Saddlebrook would get, if anything, but it is, the theory is to recoup the cost to the community. And we, as I think it was the mayor indicated earlier, or I don't know if it was the chief, that we did have two deaths, opioid-related deaths, earlier this summer, one of whom I knew pretty well. So there's Narcan, there's the cost of our first responders responding to overdoses, transport to the hospitals. It affects the community in a number of ways. So at no cost to us, I think the council had spoken about it, and it seemed like a no-brainer. So I'm happy to have introduced that resolution, and I will eventually vote yes.
So a motion for that?
I make the motion.
Roll call?
Councilman Samaluka?
Yes.
Councilwoman Mazer?
Yes.
Councilman Garrick?
Yes.
Councilman Arcomando?
Yes.
Council President Dorminio.
Yes. Okay, old business, new business. Mr. Simaluka, you're... Okay. Councilwoman Mazer? No, good. Dave? Good. Todd?
I'm good, thank you.
Mayor? Good. Yeah, okay. So I need a motion to open the meeting to the public for agenda items only.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion is now open to the public for agenda items only.
Barry Tychek, 92 Claremont. On number 9, it says here for the years 2015 to 2017, 2016 was 0, 2017 is $7,269. I thought we weren't going to have any commercial tax appeals. That's 2017, that's fresh. There's a $7,000 one looking right at us.
Do you have the breakdowns, Pete?
Number 9.
No, I see number 9. I'm looking for the individual. Right. It's not on there. Sure.
Just with regard to Mr. Ratajczak's statement, I have to say, I don't know if you're looking for something else here, but I don't recall there was a statement that there was gonna be no commercial tax appeals. I thought there was gonna be a reduction by doing the rolling assessments.
No,
but
no,
maybe
I'm just saying, like, we were patting ourselves on our back, how good we were doing. And, like I say, here's a fresh one out of the gate already. And it's 2017. And we got a commercial one looking at us already. So once they get in the door, the big guys are coming next. This is 7,000, this is nothing. 7,000, we blow
Well,
that, you know.
Anthony,
I mean, we don't know how many are gonna be.
I know, you're not gonna have zero, I know that, but I'm just saying, here it is already. We have one for $7,000.
yeah, it's 2015 through
Right.
2017.
Now here, number 10, go down to number 10, they're only complete up until 2015. Well, there's no 2016 there, there's no, and they weren't getting, $7,000. They got 49,000, 14,000, 21,000. So 2017 or 16 is missing and 2017 is still open. And the math for the total amount, Karen, was more like 180,000, not 140,000 on this paperwork here. If you just add them up quite, in your head freely. You add them up, it comes up to like 180,000.
We did it.
So
It
I'm
was
saying-
140,000, wasn't it? That's what the attorney gave us, that number, 140,000.
I told you, you can't always listen to the professionals. You have to add them up yourself. So like I said, when the big ones come in, we'll be looking at them again on paper. This is only a little guy here, CVS. He's only little. He's little. And the Marriott and Park 80 and everyone else, Park 80 Plaza was just sold again. Once they come in and they say, look, my building's not worth 20 million, I bought it for 14 million. Here I am now. So like I say, I hope we have answers for us when they do come in, because we can't answer a $7,000 one.
Through the chair,
Sure.
I know there was one building, I don't want to say what, but that recently sold for a lot more than we had it assessed at. So that's in the plus column. And that's what's a good thing about the rolling reassessment. The idea was to
Anyone else
curtail
wishing
or
to speak?
reduce them.
Can I just comment on that? I find it hard to believe that 2017 taxes were appealed. I think that what happened was in 2015 and 2016, there were appeal numbers and they agreed on $0. And the agreement was to reimburse them based on 2017. 2017, the taxes didn't even come out yet. But that was a forward-looking disposition based on their agreeing to a settlement of not taking any refunds or not getting any refunds for 2 entire years. And well, there's a lot of assumptions that go on in this room. Just so we know, tax appeals and tax refunds are just a matter of course. They will always happen. There's never going to be a time. So if there are tax appeals in the future and you come up here and say, you told us there's not going to be any tax appeals, it's not true. I'm not addressing you because you can't talk right now. But in the future, the rolling reassessment is the purpose and the theory behind it is to stop the big companies from coming in and just shooting fish in a barrel by us not revaluing them. It goes by the percentages. It's a way for them to just get an easy tax appeal. And if we have a rolling reassessment where we're always reassessing them, it should be close to zero. Now, if something sells and way undersells and for whatever reason we have overvalued it, there's going to be tax appeals. So for anybody out there who thinks that next year we're not going to do every single year, we will have tax refunds and tax appeals that somehow get settled. Sometimes it's just cheaper to settle them. Sometimes the property isn't worth what it was valued. Sometimes the properties get devalued. But it's don't expect not to have these things happen. The whole purpose of the rolling reevaluations is to keep them to a minimum and keep them to a level that it doesn't become a crisis situation, an emergent situation.
Motion to close the meeting to the public? All in favor?
Aye.
Does anyone have any other comments? Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.